Yeah, you better. Dude, you know how many people I've seen lick this microphone?
Yeah.
No,
I'm just going to ask that.
Don't eat it because somebody else did yesterday.
Straight facts. There we go.
Did you do a show yesterday?
I was supposed to, but the girl, she had to reschedule.
Okay.
It's all good.
Sometimes that happens.
Yeah, it definitely happens, and that's okay, man. I'm very used to whatever, you know, if someone has to reschedule.
With the flow, right?
Exactly. At the end of all of it, man, I just really appreciate anyone coming on, right? I appreciate them giving their time to share their story, and just, you know, for this, it's been one of the most insane experiences of my life, getting to talk to this person and that person, sitting in front of you today. It's just, I have to say, I remember being a kid, growing up, watching and doing everything that you did, and it's just a real honor to have you here, and you're one amazing dude, so humble, so kind.
I appreciate it, Brock. Thanks for reaching out and getting me on your show.
Oh, absolutely, man, absolutely. So, you know, Mike, I guess for the people just tuning in, why don't you introduce yourself and just share a little bit, you know, kind of what you do.
Right on. My name's Mike Metzker. I'm a professional motocross athlete, also an artist. I do everything from paint, which I really enjoy, but when I'm busy, like right now, riding dirt bikes as much as possible, I kind of put that on the back burner. But my tattoo schedule is pretty much more busier than I've ever been.
Damn.
So every day I usually have a tattoo appointment, at least Monday through Friday. Set my appointments up at 10:30 and go to town. Doesn't matter if it's a small tattoo or a big tattoo. I usually don't know what the tattoo is going to be because I don't like any type of stress leading up to the day where I'm going to tattoo. Yeah. That's why I set my appointments up early. I get my clients in, sit them down. We talk about what we're going to do. If it's freehand work, I give myself an hour or two to freehand with Sharpies on their skin. If it's design work where I need to do it on my iPad through my Procreate, then I give myself an hour or two, and hopefully I'm doing work by noon. Yeah. Going back to being a motocrosser, I grew up riding bikes pretty much from the time I was born on my dad's lap to racing motocross at, 6 years old, but started riding by myself around 3.
Nice.
Got the amateur national championships as a kid riding mini bikes, and then moved into supercross and motocross. Had some really good finishes as an AMA contender. And then the cards played out to where freestyle motocross came about, and I ended up being the godfather of freestyle motocross, where I won several gold medals for freestyle, and then ended up getting the world record for the biggest backflip over Caesar's Fountains, which was something I didn't grow up, ever even thinking I would do stunt work like that.
Yes, yeah.
But the good people over at ESPN hit me up one day and asked me if I was interested in jumping Caesar's Fountains for a record, and I was like, yeah, sign me up.
Oh, my gosh.
And, I've gotten to do all kinds of cool stuff. Winter X Games was really cool to be able to be a part of winter sports.
Yeah.
Where we studded up our tires and went and jumped like 115-foot double.
No way. That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest memories that pops out if people ask me, what certain things that you remember that you really enjoyed. And I think the riding at wintertime on a motorcycle and not really feeling like you're supposed to be there, but making it work.
Of course.
And then showing up to Aspen, Colorado, and actually like serving up 115-foot backflip knack for the first time ever without even doing it on dirt. That's a pretty cool memory.
Jesus, man. How does that even happen? All right. First off, 2 things. Can you move the microphone just a little bit closer?
Boom.
And 2, just double check. I pressed record. I know we're good, but just if they're dotting, yeah, good. That being said, man, how does that even happen? Like, what goes through your brain? Let's talk real quick. I want to break both of these down, and then I want to talk, about your story, and then we'll build up. But we're going to start with, the Caesar's Palace one. Like, what goes through your brain before you do something like that? Because, I mean, you obviously die very easily, right? It's just fucking nuts. I mean, Evel Knievel did, something smaller, right? And destroyed his body.
Yeah, well, Evil actually, went for the fountains going the opposite
Oh, okay.
direction. And back then there was like a parking structure, big concrete beams, and he ended up coming up short, flipping over the bike and basically hitting the concrete beams and breaking himself apart.
Yeah.
So, but for me, I think I try not to give myself any doubt.
Yeah.
So leading up to doing the event, of course, I was practicing in my backyard doing 100-foot backflips, and then just knowing that we're like a week out, we got to go practice the same exact ramp in LA to where they had the setup pretty much the same.
Oh shit. Okay.
And I ended up doing a 118-foot flip, and then once I knew it, I was safe, and I was like, okay, I'm good. I'm ready to make this happen in a week.
Yeah.
They took the ramp that I used, went to Vegas, set it up, and I didn't ride for a week. The very last jump I did was a 118-foot backflip, ramp to ramp. I went home and just hung out all week and did what I did. Had kids at the time too, so just went home and did my dad's stuff.
Yeah.
And then showed up a week later in Vegas at Caesars and just was ready to serve it. I think the wanting to make it happen and getting it over with, like nothing could change my mind what was going to happen. And I was ready. So I served up a 125-foot flip, and that's the biggest ramp-to-ramp flip still in the Guinness Book of World Records.
And that's well over a decade ago.
Yeah, I want to say it was 2007.
Yeah, 2007.
I was riding for Monster Energy that year.
13 years.
And they definitely didn't expect anything like that. And they used it as a marketing piece to introduce Monster Energy drinks to the world.
Yeah.
Because that was one of the first events that was recorded live around the world.
Dude, it's so crazy to see this like paradigm shift of like the old school, new school. Cause like you're like 10, 15 years older than me, right? And it's your generation that really like shifted from this old school mentality to now. We were talking earlier about, these amazing skate parks and, things that are being built because of the 40 to 50-year-olds growing up doing this stuff. Before you guys, I mean, Dogtown and Z-Boys had to, create their own skateboards and shit like that. Right. And now you guys, Monster Energy, right? Everyone knows Monster Energy now. But it was because of your time, helping put that shit on the map and, seeing someone fly through the air at 125 feet, doing a backflip over Caesar's Palace. It doesn't matter if you watched it then or now. It's fucking insane and so amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, to show what the humans can do. I mean, you're literally, I don't know. I find it so incredible. And it gives, I don't know, at least for me, it like gives a sense of hope that anything that you put your mind to is that you can do, right?
For
and
sure.
So, and you are a living testament to that. And so I appreciate that because I was a kid watching that, and this is what we talked about for so long at school. Did you see that? And it was just, now you being here, it's once again, it's a real honor. When you landed, what went through your mind?
I think probably the first thing was like, are you guys ready to party? We're in Vegas.
Yes.
I think that's the epitome of Vegas. You're there to party. You're there to have a good time. And leading up to it, or leading up to any event, I don't party. I don't drink.
Yeah.
But when the event's over, the race is over, especially when you win, you should give yourself the best present you can, and that's hang out with your friends and family and enjoy the times and get it done, and then move on to the next event or the next goal that you have.
Yes, absolutely. I love that. One thing that you left out earlier, at least, for me, is you were the very first person to do a backflip in the X Games.
That's true.
And that, I mean... what was in the industry, what was like the thought, like were there people doing backflips before? I mean, because like you doing that, and you didn't do just one, you did two. Okay.
Thanks for the reminder.
Yeah. I'm just saying, what was that? I mean, had you already been practicing them?
Well, I think a couple different things led up to me being confident in being the guy who wanted to make sure that I just could do the flip.
Yeah.
A good friend of mine that I grew up riding and racing with, Kerry Hart.
Yeah.
He went for the first backflip around 2000 at the Gravity Games. He went for it off of a pretty gnarly jump, ended up over-rotating and coming off his bike, breaking his foot. And then from that time to 2002, when I landed the first flip, I think there was a couple dudes who went out there and actually were trying to do flips in their backyard. A guy named Caleb Wyatt. He did probably the first one in his backyard off of a mulch pile.
Okay.
And then I think for me, around that same time, I was, just super inspired by knowing that it could be done.
Yes.
I think the first time I knew a dirt bike backflip could be done was from the movie Rad.
Okay, yes,
that's
of
like-
course. I
grew up watching the movie
Yes,
Rad as
yes.
a kid. Another movie that really stood out in my mind and made me just want to
Love
be
that.
the motocross guy that knew that motocross was a party.
Yes.
Was winners take all.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
still watch that every once in a while
Yes.
just to remind myself as far as like, this is life, that it should be fun.
It is.
And not only to be serious at times to go out there and be the best you can, but also to be serious about the party.
Yeah.
To hang out afterwards with your friends and just to enjoy those times of hard work and effort and why we're actually doing it.
Dude.
To be the best, but also to share those moments with your friends.
Dude, that's what it's all about, man. Life is, it's fine. It's a blink of an eye. You're here and you're gone, and so it's so important to be able to push yourself as hard as you can go and be able to accomplish these goals. But at the same time, family, and unite with your friends and family, and create these memories,
For sure.
because I don't know what happens afterwards. No one does, right? But if you can live your life and just become a model for people to look at, or your kids to aspire, to be, or, kids around the world. I mean, it's a real testament to who you are. I mean, hearing these things, right? I knew about it just kind of from, reading things, and I don't know, just you always had the sense of just, I don't know, family and friends, and it's yes, it's this, but it's all about us coming together.
For sure.
You kind of going back to the backflip though, right? So you do one, but then you do a second one.
I definitely showed up to X Games that year. Not planning to do the biggest flip at the time. I was doing about 45 to 50 foot backflips, ramp to dirt.
Yeah.
First, second gear. And then I showed up in Philadelphia, and the section where they had the flip ramp, let's say, or the flip gap, led into a big 80-foot, perfect BMX style jump.
Nice.
Dirt to dirt.
80 feet.
And I just told my manager at the time and friends, I was like, if I don't flip that before this weekend's over, I'm going to be missing out. And I think I probably just in my head the whole time I was there, I just couldn't quit thinking about like, man, I cannot wait to get this flip out of the way. But how cool will it be when I flip that other jump? And it just all came together, And yeah. Just amazing times. I look at the video every once in a while. People send me a post that I'm attached to, and I look at it, and I kind of blows my mind where I'm like, that's me.
That is you.
Crazy that I got to live that moment and share it with my wife and my daughter, where my son wasn't born yet, Myri. And it's just really crazy to look back at that footage and my friends that were there that I get to ride with and kind of move the whole sport of freestyle motocross in a direction that really changed the whole way of what people were thinking and where it was going to go. A lot of riders knew right there their careers were done. That if you didn't do the backflip, you weren't going to get invited to any more freestyle events.
Yeah.
And so a lot of guys ended up quitting and just dropping off the map. A lot of guys ended up trying to continue to push themselves and do flips. But, a lot of guys I know have passed on because it's a gnarly sport. And you got to take into consideration what you're doing anytime you're on a motorcycle. and that those consequences are real.
Absolutely.
So.
It's so real. I mean, you guys, like, especially like you make it look so easy, right? It's like so effortless, but it's not. I mean, how much training, how much practice, how much work? How old were you when you did those backflips?
Shoot, man. So I started doing flips around 2002.
Okay.
But, leading up to that, Kerry was, doing his scheduled practicing leading up to 2000 Gravity Games, where he was doing flips on a BMX bike, working with the guys from, what's it called? The Camp Woodward.
Yes.
So they were helping him out and like building a setup to where it was like kind of a resi mat where he could try it on his motorcycle, and he ended up getting hurt a few times. And I think almost every time Kerry did a backflip, he hurt something in his body, and it was just awesome for me to be a part of him pushing everyone and pushing me to do what I did.
Yeah.
And it's just
but
just the whole sport.
How old were you when 2006, 2007?
I don't know. I'm 45
Okay,
right
so
now.
let's just say 20,
I just turned
14.
45
You're
November
30.
19th.
Let's just say 30, 28, 30. Damn.
Which is kind of crazy to think. I was 30 years old and still pushing the sport.
Yes.
Pushing myself. I had 2 kids. And, actually had 1 kid. My wife was pregnant at the time with our second. And to just think back, like a lot of people were like, doesn't having kids like, demotivate you to like slow down? And I was like, no, it's not in the back of my head. I ride motorcycles still to push myself and learn new things. And that's what kind of guess my dad, taught me, like, if you're going to do anything, continue to push yourself and see what you can do.
Absolutely.
Be the best at it.
Absolutely. I mean, David Goggins talks about this all the time, and where, most human beings, unfortunately, only give 40% of the full 100% of their effort in life. And that's just facts. I mean, right. I know so many people that even give less than 40%. And it's no disrespect, but if you know that you have the ability to push yourself farther, why wouldn't you? You know,
sure. If you have the time and the effort,
exactly.
Make it happen.
Yeah,
see how far you can go with anything you want to do.
Absolutely. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. So you were 30 years old. You did that. You definitely transformed what the industry looked like into where it is today. Looking at it now, right? What do you think of the sport itself?
I just did an interview the other day with a French online magazine called MXvoice.racing. It's a good interview. And he asked me that same question. It's gone in a completely different direction to where it's insane. And riding bikes has always been pretty insane to me, as far as also the tricks and pushing backflips. But now you got Travis Pastrana and his business, Nitro Circus. And these kids are on a complete different level to where, to me, and I say it in a nonchalant way, it's a circus. It really is. Like, for these guys to be riding a 240-pound motorcycle and be doing double front flips with tricks and double back flips with tricks. And I don't even like watching it. I don't watch it, and I would not want my kids to be like, hey, I want to be in the Nitro Circus and do the next triple 360 or whatever. To me, it's insanity. It's you're gonna get hurt anyways. Just getting on a motorcycle and riding and learning how to ride and go through those steps, you're gonna get really hurt. Especially if in your head at all you want to push yourself, you're gonna end up in the hospital
for sure.
And or
dead.
Yeah.
So
and it happens.
It does. Yeah, and they're setting a precedent that's just so far off the bar that it is crazy. But I don't know if that's due to social media or the culture of the time, but everything is just more and more.
And I think it has to do with passion. These
kids, there we go.
You know what I'm saying? Travis is crazy. He pushes himself.
Yes.
Same with all the guys in any sport that I know. But it really does come down to how much passion those kids have.
Yeah.
And as far as pushing themselves on that level, I don't like it.
Yeah.
I like pushing myself, but to that extent of getting crushed over and over again, you know, you're just waiting.
Yeah.
I feel.
No, of course. But then in retrospect, they could have said that about you too back then,
For
right?
sure,
So it's, I think it's apples and oranges.
I took the baby steps I felt like to just do a perfect backflip without overly pushing and being insane about it.
Yeah. There's something really beautiful just about a single backflip, right? It's just raw and real. I mean, when you got like the double with the tricks and all of that, it's like fucking insane, just like you said, right? But with one backflip, it's just perfection. It's just beautiful.
For me also, I grew up racing motocross. You know, my dad never expected me to go do tricks or film, you know, even taking it back further, doing motocross free riding videos for Fox Racing back in the day, the Krusty Demons videos.
Yes, I love those,
that's
dude.
really where the whole freestyle vibe started,
yeah,
where the seed was dropped, and then all of a sudden you have freestyle competitions and then leading into X Game comps. But I grew up being a motocross racer, born and bred. My dad loves still to this day motocross racing. I love hauling ass.
Yes.
As a kid, I wanted to road race.
Okay.
But and like if I was to be flipping through the satellite channels and saw motocross and then saw road racing, you better believe I was watching the guys that were going 180 miles an hour. I love going fast and.
It is, right?
And I got a chance to do that for a while, but it's just so expensive. And for me, I do push myself, and I live on the edge to learn because you do have to crash to learn. And I always said to myself, the more you crash, the sooner you learn what not to do.
I like that.
So it's expensive crashing a road race bike.
Yes. Oh man, that's a good point. Okay, we'll get to the snow one. We'll lead up to that. I want to start off. You know, where's your roots? Where did you grow up?
I was born in Huntington Beach, California. I think around 5 years old, we moved out to Corona.
All right,
and it was pretty cool. You know, it was when there was still dirt roads around. I could ride from my parents' 1 acre property. And basically that area, there was no homes between where I lived and where now is the Tyler Mall. Where the Tyler Mall is off of, I think, McKinley in Corona, Riverside area. That's where the Corona Raceway used to be.
Okay.
So as far as racing, my dad would take me from the time I was 6 years old until, you know, I was older, 18, and started doing it on my own. I was racing Corona Raceway, Paris Raceway, De Anza, taking me to Barona Oaks in San Diego.
Nice.
It's pretty much an every weekend deal of my life was racing motocross, and then coming home from school every day, I'd be out doing laps, you know,
just
and practicing every day. And my routine was set up from my dad being serious and being race inspired. You're going to go out there, you're going to do 2 35-minute motos, and then you're done. Because that's what you do when you go to the races. Usually it's around a 30-minute moto. And
for people listening, what is that? 35?
Motocross.
Yeah, well, no. 35-minute moto. Is that like a 35-minute race?
Yeah. Okay. Basically, you're going out and training, and you're on the motocross track wherever your track or going. You're on that track from the time the gate drops or dad drops the fake flag start, and you're out on the track, and dad's doing lap times or your mechanic's doing lap times and making sure you're within those same lap times for 35 minutes.
Perfect.
And then they pull you off the track, and that's Moto 1.
Okay.
Moto 2, you get out there and do the same deal, and then load the bike and go home.
Damn.
And get your homework done.
Did you have like an innate ability? Like, were you good from the start?
I think so, because my dad pushed me so hard. He wasn't an overly dickhead dad where you see these dads that are, we call them motocross dads, that are just, you know, get out there, do that jump, do
I
this.
hate them, man.
You know, it's more just nonchalantly saying, hey, you can do this. You can go do that jump. Well, for me, I'm, you know, want to make my dad proud. I always have. And I'd be like, okay, that's kind of a scary jump, but let's get that done.
See, there's such a huge difference when parents I even have a post just recently about this. It's like the parents that are like, and they same thing for baseball and, all different sports. You have, this dad and this dad, and they're just, over the top, crazy, just really trying to push, but with like force, right? Where you have the other parent where it's like, they inspire the kid. Like you said, you wanted to make your dad proud, right? You're like, fuck, this jump is big, I want to make my dad proud, right?
Dad believes I can do it,
Boom.
and I can do it.
Exactly.
But don't force your kid. There's a lot of parents out there that force their kids into doing shit that they want them to do.
Yep.
And then by the time they're old enough and, right at that age where they're like, oh, I'm getting ready to get a car, I'm getting ready to be an adult, they start thinking about that ahead of time. And then thinking about how their parents treated them, and they're already disgusted and just like, I don't want to do that shit anymore. And I've seen it over and over again my whole life with kids who raced and that were badasses, and then they just disappear.
Dude, yeah. So shout out to your pops, man. Seriously, like straight up.
Ted's pretty badass.
Hell yeah, Ted Metzger.
Yep.
Oh, that's amazing, man. Shout out to him. I'd love to meet him one day. All right, so getting back to your story, right? You did all these races. Do you remember the first race you ever won?
My first race, I won.
See, I knew it, dude. I know it. It's like you ask him when Michael Jordan started playing basketball. When's the first time he dunked? The first time I held a ball. It's like.
And it was Corona Raceway. So damn. I grew up in Corona from the time I was like 5 years old to the day 7th grade got out. Yeah. The day 7th grade got out, I got home and my parents had our whole house loaded up in a U-Haul. And I was like, whoa, this is crazy. And Dad's like, yeah, we're out of here. We're moving to Quail Valley. And Quail Valley is basically where Canyon Lake is.
Okay.
And it was torture moving into this huge house. It was pretty cool that I had like the whole basement level.
Okay.
It was a 3-story house. Nice. But the bottom, the people who had the home before my parents had 13 cats in the house. And they basically just ran wild on the bottom story, which was
piss
everywhere. So, and I'm allergic to cats. Always have.
Oh shit!
So my dad kind of tortured me by saying, "Hey, this is your room. Clean it up." And for months on end, I was messed up and always like rubbing my eyes and boogers coming out because of being allergic. So
damn.
It didn't do me any good. I still hate cats, and I'm still allergic to them. When you moved into that house, you were riding a lot still, obviously. Yeah, actually,
every weekend.
It's a 35-acre piece of property, so I had my own motocross track.
Oh, shit. Is that why he did it? Was there a reasoning?
He got a smoking deal on it, I think, back then, and for 35 acres right outside Canyon Lake. I want to say it was right around like the $300,000 mark. He's now trying to sell it so him and my mom can move to Tennessee.
Okay.
And it's up in the $2 million price as far as property and house. So.
Isn't that crazy, man? It is crazy. It's so nuts. You hear about like in like Studio City, freaking they bought a house for $15,000-$20,000 worth like $2 million. $300,000, $2 million. I mean, still, it's fantastic and kudos to them. So how long did you guys live out there? Oh, well, I guess forever. They still do, right?
They still live there since we moved there after 7th grade got out. And both my sisters, I'm the oldest, but I have my middle sister who's Michelle, and my youngest is Megan, and they all live in that same Menifee community.
Wow.
So it's pretty cool. We're all super close. I just moved back to Menifee from Big Bear about 6 weeks ago.
Okay.
And I'm living with a friend right now, and my studio that I share with Colby Rajas in Marietta, right by Factory KTM and Husky, and it's really cool. Just like, I don't know how it all works out other than when you're supposed to be doing something, it'll happen.
That's exactly it,
so
man.
I'm back home in the area where my whole family lives, my friends. And then I've hooked up with Colby Raja, who's an X Games medalist at 26 years old. He basically runs the show for the whole free ride scene. He's a real moto champion. He's also the X Games quarter pipe champion. And
just a beast, man. 26.
Yeah, and I just, like I said, I turned 45, and hanging out with him doesn't make me feel any older than him. You know,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in the best shape of my life that I've ever been. I feel like I'm younger than most of these kids that I ride with. I'm definitely not any slower than I used to be riding bikes, and I'm enjoying my life more than I ever have. I'm super stoked that my older kids are doing their thing. My youngest kid is getting into riding, and it's just really good. You know, I have no complaints.
Dude, that's awesome, man. I love that, you know, you and Colby, and you don't feel like the old man. I mean, you don't look like the old man either, too. So, I mean, it's you know, there's a lot of 45-year-olds and 50-year-olds out there that are, you know, their bodies don't look like yours, you know, and so it's like all about taking care of yourself. And
also, I keep pretty inspired by people I've looked up to, you know, like Tony Hawk, Steve Caballero, Christian Hosoi, guys that, you know, as a kid, I always was like interested in the whole skate scene, maybe the whole punk rock scene, which was different than motocross. And then you got Matt Hoffman for BMX, just all these dudes who are pros at each and every one of their games. They're still out there doing it and shredding hard.
Dude, absolutely. I mean, you see some of the shit Tony Hawk still does in his 50s. It's fucking epic. He was just on Rogan, you know, a few months ago, man, and just hearing his story and just how he still continues to push himself.
For sure, these guys push themselves each and every day. Like even Steve Cab.
Yeah.
He's out at least a couple times a week riding motocross. And I'd say just within the last year, he broke his femur riding motocross.
I grew up, dude. I rocked the cabs and everything, man. Fuck, dude. That's incredible. And you know, for you still push yourself. Now, would you still do a backflip?
Oh, I will be sooner than later. Right now, I'm just, you know, like I always say, you got to take baby steps.
Yes.
My last backflip I did was the worst backflip I ever had done in my life. I ended up breaking my right femur with a rod in it, dislocating my right hip, smashing just about my whole body.
Okay.
Breaking my cheek.
Dude.
So it was ugly. It was leading up to an event that was supposed to happen in Australia that weekend. I think I broke myself off 2 days before I was supposed to hop on an airplane and go do this deal in Australia, which was called the Reunion Tour. And I hadn't done a backflip probably almost a year and a half prior to wrecking and just putting too much pressure on myself. Yeah. And also just not really being in the right mind frame that day.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it comes down to that. You know, going through that process, how long did it take you to heal, and do you still feel it?
No, I'm actually a firm believer that in wrecking your body, it takes at least 2 years to get through whatever type of insane pain you have to deal with.
Yeah.
I just recently told that and shared that to my 17-year-old kid who's recovering from a broken tibia from skateboarding. And, you know, I call him, I talk to him every day, and he's living up in Mammoth snowboarding on the snowboard team and working out. And I ask him how he feels every day, and he complains about it. And I'm like, well, hey, give yourself a couple years for that pain for your body to really work through whatever it has to, whether it's the tendons, the muscles, the displacement of the bone.
Yeah.
You know, it takes a little bit of time for just those things that are uncomfortable to get used to where they're going.
Absolutely. That's
I would definitely say a couple years for any injuries. You know, even now I got metal in my lower back from snapping my back. I did the Queen Mary jump for the Discovery Channel.
Yes.
And went a little too far, crushed my L4. So my L3, 4, and 5 in my lower back are all fused.
Yeah.
And that's one of the injuries that I've had that kind of lingers on. If I don't stretch, if I don't go ride my road bicycle at least a couple times a week, then my back just starts tightening up, especially tattooing as much as I do.
All hunched over.
Yeah, I have to try to sit straight. When I ride, especially motocross, I have to have a certain posture that works for me.
Yep. It's so important.
And if I don't go and do the exercises that I need to do, I'm balled up to where I'm just super uncomfortable and bent over all day.
Oh, no, trust me. I get it, man. I got a fucked up back. And, you know, working out, taking care of yourself, stretching, all of these things are so important. And I wish as a society and culture, we talked about it more, right?
Sure.
I mean,
especially the older you get, you have to exercise.
dude, you have to, and especially in the climate that we're in, with everything going on, your health is more important than ever. You know, it's so fucking important to take care of your body, and you know the clock doesn't stop ticking, right? Until one day, eventually it stops forever, or
and you can make that happen quicker than you want.
Yes.
You know, it just depends on your attitude. And,
absolutely.
And I just recently, within the last couple of weeks, started training harder than I've ever trained in my life. I go to the rock climbing gym called Rock Fitness in Wildemar. And
Shout out to them.
Rock climbing is something that I've learned and done from a good friend of mine right out of high school, Nick Ciotti, who that's his #1 passion is rock climbing.
Wow.
And I still hold that in my heart and soul to where that's my #1 exercise that I love to do. And also I do core exercises every morning, stretch, ride the stationary bike, at least for 15 minutes and sweat my ass off.
Dude, absolutely.
And go climb the walls for at least a half hour before I go and get my situation dialed in to tattoo that day.
Dude, that's a really great setup that you have right there.
Every day.
Beautiful. Every day.
It works.
It does. I've talked about it so many times. So I suffer from fibromyalgia and degenerative disc disease in my back, right? And for the longest time, man, for years, I just felt like shit all the time, but I put a smile on and just worked through it, right? And you know, every day, I even today, like, or all days, you know, I still feel like shit, right? There's levels of feeling like shit, right? And it's just life, man. Like this is the hand that was dealt to me. It is what it is. I'm gonna continue to push forward. I don't fucking care, right? And I started really just kind of like working out and taking care of my body about a year and a half ago. And the days that I work out and take care of myself, I am at least 75% better than I was fucking, 2 years ago. And so when I don't work out, when I don't stretch, when I don't get on the Peloton, right? I can definitely feel it. My body's just super tense, and even my stomach, my lower back, my head.
Getting older,
yes, Brock. I am. Shut the heck up, dude. It's true, but I think it's just really important, and I think that like I said earlier, it's like as a society we need to talk about this more and more. Really taking care of your body is so important. So kudos to you. What did you say that was the name of the rock climbing place?
It's called Rock Fitness Wildemar.
Rock Fitness Wildemar. All right, fantastic.
That's insane. I was actually trying to look up if you guys had.
Can you pull that up?
Place this
morning. No, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I've never actually gone rock climbing. I would love to go.
Yeah, I love going climbing anywhere, but I think that the indoor
Rock Fitness Wildemar.
Yeah, Rock Fitness. It's just a really cool place. My friend Nick Ciotti used to be a setter. He used to set the rock climbs there and everything.
What is that? What's a setter?
A setter is somebody who actually sets the fake rocks to make a route.
Okay.
So you got different.
They do it solo?
Well, there's bouldering where they have like boulder caves, boulder walls that are only a certain height.
Okay.
And then you got the where you have to clip in.
Okay.
And then you can have a guy who belays you.
What's that? Like pulls you up and down?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, like as you're climbing the high wall, a belayer is taking the rope and making rope tight.
Okay,
so if you
making
fall,
it easier. Oh.
Yeah, no, not easier, but just making sure that the rope's tight to where if you slip and you fall off the rock, at least they're catching you and they're holding you from slapping the bottom.
Dude,
so you got to have a lot of trust in your belayer.
You definitely do.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. All right, so this is it, Rock Fitness. What the hell? Click on it.
Rock Fitness Wildemar. It's super sick inside. They got so many climbing routes, bouldering. You can see they got basketball courts, volleyball.
Dude, they got everything.
If
Holy
you look
shit.
over on the right, they have a trampoline ball thing.
Dude, and so what? Do they have like a monthly membership?
Yeah,
or?
monthly membership. It's like $70 a month, and
oh my
it's way
gosh,
better than going
this is
to
way
a regular
better.
gym.
Listen, Santa Clarita, you build some amazing skate parks and dirt and mountain bike trails and all that shit. You got to build one of these.
And they also have a ninja course, American Ninja
Shut
style
the heck
course.
up.
You can see that. They got free weights. They got cardio machines.
Dude, that is like the best gym ever.
It is. It really is.
I know. Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
they have a babysitter. You could bring your little kids. They'll babysit.
I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. All right, fantastic. We'll definitely plug them in the thing. Cool.
For sure. That's what I do every morning. It keeps me wanting to get inspired to wake up, especially go see my dad, drink coffee, and then hit the gym before I go and tattoo most of the day.
Dude, that's perfect. How long is your traditional workout? Not traditional, it's non-traditional.
It just depends. I'm usually there right when they open at 8, and then I jump on the cardio bike, the spin bike, get a sweat in, stretch, do my core exercises. Once I burn out on that, then I put my rock climbing shoes and harness on, and I'll try to rip some walls. Like that right there is, dude, that's like the boulder cave.
You can climb that?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So, wow. And I have a hard time finding people who really are into doing that, other than my best friend Nick Ciotti that I grew up with.
Dude,
but he's pretty busy working now, and he's got a garage that's a full-blown rock climbing gym with weights and everything.
He built a rock climbing gym in his garage?
Yeah, it's really cool. He helped me build a rock climbing gym in my parents' house where they still live, right out of high school.
Seriously?
Yeah, we did that a lot. And it's like I said, hard to find people who are into doing that.
Dude, that's so sick. Do you ever do it like outside of a gym? Do you ever like?
I have. It's just a lot harder because then you're dealing with real rock.
Yeah.
Usually you got to find somebody who knows the place.
Yes.
And knows the routes.
Yeah.
Then you know, if you're bouldering, it's one thing. Usually you need to take like a bouldering mat, because if you get up, you know, say 10, 15 feet and you do slip, you got to make sure you're falling on something safe.
Okay.
So they usually boulder guys, they have a mat that they bring in where they're going to climb. If you're climbing big wall, you got to have a big long ass rope and somebody who's going to help belay, and then you take turns.
Damn, man. I'm going to look into that because I like that. There's just so many different things. And, you know, I mean, I guess not right now. I doubt it'd be open, but, you know, once this passes, of course it will. I like that because I don't like the traditional style of workout. Then again, I do come in here every single morning. I turn on the fucking floor heater. I like to get it really fucking hot. I put out my mat and I stretch and I work out and, you know, for like 90 minutes or whatever.
That's
but
good.
It is
where it starts.
Exactly.
Doing push-ups, sit-ups.
Yep.
Planks.
I got these bad boys right here. The Bowflex ones that go from 30 to, or they go from 0 to 52 or 5 to 52.
Yeah, you even got the weights going.
Hell yeah, man.
That's good, Brock.
Dude, it is. And I'm not trying to get like super shredded, but like this time 2 years ago, I was almost 200 pounds. I'm 175 now.
Wow, man.
You know, I had a big like beer belly, and even this guy did too. And it wasn't big, but
I was the same. I was 200. I'm 165.
There we go, baby.
Good job.
Yes, yeah. So
I think if your mind doesn't go in that direction,
yeah,
and you don't realize like you got to be healthier and exercise, then you're just going to continue to go downhill.
100%. All right, so let's bring it back to your story, right? So you were winning all those races. You were doing amazing. At what point did you go, maybe I can turn this into something?
I think with the whole freestyle motocross thing, I had kind of just gotten burnt out on not being the best guy.
Okay.
You know, like going to contests and just kind of being, because I wanted to race. You know, when the whole freestyle thing started, I was kind of missing motocross a lot.
Yeah.
You know, I even had sponsors that were like, why are you at this motocross race? You should be like going and jumping at the freestyle contest. And
shit.
You know, where it kind of bummed me out because they're like, whoa, he's the guy. And I didn't want to be the guy. I wanted to be the motocross guy, which for some reason, I think what held me back from being, say, the best motocross guy, like, say, a Jeremy McGrath or a Ricky Johnson that I looked up to, was I was injured a lot.
Okay.
And I don't think I had the focus and the drive to train. Yeah. You know, if I focused and trained like I do now, when I was 16, 18, it would have been a different story. But I don't know, I wasn't the biggest dude or like ripped with muscles as a kid. I was always like the smallest dude in school. And then I didn't really even grow till out of high school. Okay. But I was always hurt from the time I started racing at 6 years old. And I remember breaking my first bone, which was my right ankle, and I broke it bad.
Dude, how old were you?
6.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I think after that, I was always hurt, you know, And most of the time I look back and I was like, oh, at that big race, I was hurt.
Yeah.
Oh, at that race, I was hurt. And so I just kind of got used to being hurt. And it's one thing to go out and race motocross and have that adrenaline and push through being hurt. But then after the race, you got to come home and then train and push yourself. I didn't really have it in me to just want to be on top of my game so much that I could train and think that it was in me to just strive to be that guy. So I didn't go out and win Supercrosses. My best Supercross finish was a sixth. Sixth in the 125 class. I think for outdoor nationals, I got like a 12th.
Okay.
And, I got to see the world racing motocross.
That's
Supercross.
amazing, right?
So that's what's really cool about looking back at my motocross career. And also with freestyle, I got to travel the world and just see like the most beautiful places that I would have never, thought that was possible.
Yeah.
Except I did it because of motocross and freestyle and
Dude,
just bikes, motorcycles.
It's just incredible that you that anyone can do that, right? You get on this motorcycle, right, if you will, and it can get you to travel the world. It can get you to do some of the most amazing things and pay your bills, right? Like it's just mind-boggling to me. But now it's just another piece. Like it's like another sport, right? Sure. You see in the Winter Olympics or snowboarding, but they're just about to put BMX and skateboarding in the Summer Olympics, I mean, for, sure. For the first time. I don't know if it's the first time. Can you look that? Can you fact check that for me?
I think pretty sure that this year, didn't they, or 2021, they're supposed to have the Olympics in Japan or something. I think it's getting pushed off maybe because of the whole COVID deal.
Yeah.
But, there's a lot of cool sports that are going in that are not necessarily mainstream sports.
Yeah.
That are now going to be Olympic sports.
Dude,
so I think for me, the coolest thing would in the future see motocross racing be like an Olympic sport.
Why wouldn't it be, right?
I think it will be.
I know it should be. I mean, especially as like my generation, like you guys get older, then I get older. Like, of course it has to be. I mean, dude, you know how many people freaking what?
Okay, so it was this year then.
This year, Tokyo 2020.
There it is.
No. I wouldn't. What?
Yeah.
So it happened?
No, double check that.
Or maybe it was supposed to happen and it got put on hold. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, because of the whole COVID
Yeah,
deal.
so in a year or two, what is that, Nigeria? How do you pronounce it?
Well, it's every
Houston?
4 years.
Yeah, exactly,
right?
Yeah.
So the next one would be 2024. And then I think
And
LA is supposed to be 2028.
Yeah, that's going to be nuts, man.
I definitely will be there.
Oh, hell yeah.
Hopefully they'll have motocross in it.
Dude, they freaking better. Like, I mean, it's so much better than some of the fucking sports that they have in there.
So what that says is it's supposed to re-enter. They're going to
2021. You were right, man.
Olympics, but in July of 21.
Yeah, so it says the Summer Olympics officially the games of whatever.
There it is. Tokyo
Olympia,
2020.
commonly known Tokyo. Yeah, dude. Oh my gosh. And who's on the team? We pull up the teammates.
I know Nigel's
yeah,
probably the number one dude.
Dude, I was looking at his Instagram early. Dude, he is just
I think he just turned like
26.
26?
26, bro.
Okay.
And he's been skating since he was a kid.
Yeah, I remember seeing him when he had his dreadlocks and
Dude.
little guy with his dad hanging out at all the X Games.
That's just crazy, man. Competing with the big dogs. Look at that,
there
man.
There he is on the left.
Yep, there he is.
Right there.
In his short shorts. Amazing. Yeah, he's so talented. I mean, the whole team. That's so fucking cool. Like, I never in my wildest dreams thought I would see this. Because I grew up skateboarding, right? That was like my thing. And, to see it now, I mean, of course, motocross is for sure going to be in it. I mean,
so.
Dude, it in my mind, in your mind, in all of our mind, it just makes sense. And probably like one of the most watched things. I mean, because skateboarding for sure is going to be huge in it. So, for you, when did the freestyling thing come about? You had to make the conscious decision, like, all right, this motocross thing isn't working out. I'm going to go this way.
Actually, I think it was 1998. We had our first freestyle event, which was called the Vans Triple Crown. There was 3 events. The first one was in Vegas. Unfortunately, I missed the first one because of the year prior, right towards the end of the year in November, I'm pretty sure I broke my first femur, and that was at a Supercross race in France. And then, and then I would say March was when our first event for freestyle happened, but I still wasn't able to ride.
Okay.
So I remember being able to give my bike to a guy named Edgar Torrenteras.
Okay.
Who's basically like the Godfather of freestyle from Europe.
Okay.
He's from Spain.
So he's like you, but from Europe.
Yeah, from Spain.
Nice.
And Edgar's, he's a badass. Like everything the dude does. He's a DJ. He's a beatboxer.
Yeah.
And everything he does. Yeah, exactly. You have to look up Edgar Torrenteras. But anyways, he's a man. He's a family man. He's got kids, and he still goes out there and tears it up. He's a monster athlete.
Yes.
Travels around doing the Masters of Dirt tour. He grew up racing motocross also. But, yeah, the freestyle deal happened in 98, and then it started, I think, the whole business. I think it was IFMA, International Freestyle Motorcycle Association. Yeah. I think it changed hands to the people who own and ran the Supercross.
Okay.
And so it went from us winning like $10,000 for a first place prize to all of a sudden, like the following year, it getting taken over, and you go to these events in these stadiums where you were making like $1,250 for first place.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it was weird. So that's what happens when the corporations get a hold of something good, and then, you know, they make it to where they get the money and they pay their people, and the athletes just kind of are there. And if,
what the fuck?
Yeah, it was crazy. And so I wasn't really into the whole like going and showing off and risking my life for no money. I did a handful,
Yeah.
but it was more of like a push for me to like, I'm just going to fully ride. I'm going to go race motocross. And that's where the sponsors were like, well, you could be winning that stuff, and we would be paying you to be our sponsored athlete.
Yeah.
And I was just more like, yeah, well, they took the fun out of it. The fun was winning big money. And then, and it was, you know, the first year was just really memorable because of it being the first time, you know, and Travis Pastrana was out there. He ended up hurting himself, I'm pretty sure, at the second event, which was in Havasu. He went for like 65-foot double across the whole stadium. It was like a flat track stadium outdoors.
160 feet.
I'm pretty sure it was that big. And he came from outside the stadium and just on 125 and came up short, basically decked the wall and broke his hips off of his pelvis. So it was just, you know, to look back and be like, the kid is so gnarly, and he continues to push himself. Oh my God.
Now. Yeah. And what is he, 40 now? I mean,
yeah,
35?
He's probably about 5 years younger than me, right around that.
Can you look up how old Travis Pastrana is, man? Yeah, that dude's.
So I ended up winning the Triple Crown that year, even though I missed the first event. I went and won the second, then I won the third, which I want to say was in like Seattle, Washington.
How did you win the triple? Don't you have to win all three or no?
Well,
just the best of three?
It was the Vans Triple Crown of Freestyle.
Okay.
So it was all a point steal, every event.
Got it.
And so I'm pretty sure I won the last two. Travis won the first one, got hurt at the second one, and then kind of that's where history started as far as freestyle motocross. Crazy.
Do you think that, and what year was that, did you say, the Triple Crown?
Let's say 1998 was the first year.
So 1998, damn. And so then it was like 8 or 9 years from that point until we did do you remember what year you did the first backflip?
2002.
Oh, so it was 4 years. 4 years. And you were building up to that, right? When did you get the name The Godfather? Like,
I think right off the bat. I want to say that one of the announcers, having a brain lock right now.
It's all good.
But one of the announcers that was a guy who hung out and basically did all the freestyle shows for years and years.
Damn.
Cameron Steele.
There we go. Cameron Steele.
Cameron Steele was the main announcer, and he kind of just tagged that name onto me. But I don't know. I think out of all the motocrossers that grew up with me, I was one that was inspired by BMX.
Yeah.
Like more so as I was a kid racing, I always was like inspired to BMX.
Okay.
Whether it was go BMX race, which my dad wouldn't let me, or go jump with the neighborhood buddies. I just always had it in me to like, oh, I want to be the guy on my BMX bike trying that jump first.
Yeah.
And so that attitude kind of just rolled over to me riding my dirt bike. I always felt like it was easy for me to be the first guy to jump something.
Yes.
And nowadays, I like to think that in my wise old age, I can tone it back and be like, I'm going to watch these kids do it first. I know I can do it, but it's easier for me to just go, I'm going to kick back, let the young dudes take the chance of hurting themselves, and then like, oh, I can do that.
Yeah, you're like, I can do that. Did you look it up? How old is he? Sorry. 37. Travis is 37.
So he's almost 40.
Yeah, he's almost 40. But that's funny, man. Do you think it was confidence or cockiness when you were younger?
I think it's always been confidence. I know I've had my fair share of being a cock, and just being overly confident at times, which always leads to getting hurt. But I've always been pretty confident, I'd say, because the way my dad raised me. Just into,
I love that, man.
You know, just like always telling me I could do it.
Dude, I love that. You know how many times you've talked about your dad and how he's raised you and how much of a... You can just, it just shows like how much of an inspiration and how important he is to you.
For sure.
And you are you're a living, breathing testament to what your dad created, because I believe that a child's life, they learn like the most in those early years, man. They're like a fucking sponge, and it can, you know, dictate how their life really ends up and how they become or who they become, right? And it's very hard to change the course, especially when maybe you don't have the best parents. That's why a lot of times if you have, you know, a parent that hits their child, right, or leads with the iron fist, it's because they used to get hit and led with an iron fist. And then there are times, not as much, where, you know, a kid says, I'm not going to be like that. I'm going to change the course. But I'm telling you, it's been out of the 60 guests or so, 50 guests that have been on here, maybe 5 or 6 have talked about their parents like you. And it's always been someone that is, you know, a legend or a leader in their field, right? And it's because of, you know, parents like your dad.
I definitely believe that I am who I am because of my parents and the way my dad raised me. There's definitely been hard times where I've grown up going, this guy's a dick.
Yeah.
You know,
of course.
As I get older and I look back at the things that I've done, and I wouldn't have ever been able to do it without my dad's help.
Yeah.
That the dude's just hands down an amazing person. And then, you know, just living every day, I run across people every day. Hey, how's Ted?
Yes.
You know, and he's just such a good dude to everybody. Yeah. You know, my dad's actually a custom pool builder.
No way.
He's done a lot of custom pools for guys like, you know, in the motorcycle industry, Jeremy McGrath,
nice,
Ryan Hughes, Dave Pingree.
Can you see it? Can we look at his stuff online?
He's not an online dude.
All right.
He doesn't have a website.
Maybe Jeremy posted a picture.
Maybe. I've never actually looked online to see if Ted Metzger.
Yeah. Look that up. Look it up.
Yeah,
hey, you can switch your headphones around so it doesn't come across your body.
Right on.
Switch ears if you want. But damn, that's awesome. So when you were younger, did you ever help him out?
I did. I would say that I thought I worked pretty hard at times to just, you know, be around my dad and work with him as a kid. But he would tell you that, he didn't work that hard. He showed up a couple times and that was it.
That's so cool. How about your parents, your dad's parents?
My dad's dad is Grandpa Fritz, and he's directly right out of Austria.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So his mom, my grandma Mutti, Julie.
Yeah.
She came over years ago from on the boat.
Wow.
And
through Ellis Island.
I'm not sure exactly the whole story, but full German.
Wow.
As far as their, you know, I just remember being a kid and going to their houses and to, you know, say Christmas parties and stuff where there was a lot of German speaking going on between my great grandma and my grandpa and a few other people, but you don't really hear too much German anymore.
No.
I bet my grandpa wishes that there was, you know, more people in the family that spoke German, but
it would be amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Did your dad know any German?
Nope.
Nope.
No, I think the most German my dad still has in him is probably he could still play the accordion, but he won't get it out of the closet.
How old's your pops?
He's 62.
Damn, how old was he when he had you? 17?
Pretty young, I would have to say.
Well, if you're 45, it would be 17, right?
Yeah.
Damn, son.
17.
Damn, that's so fucking cool. I mean, I have to say, like, I'm 33, or I'm going to be 34 next Friday. But my wife and I, we've been together for 17 years, and we don't have kids yet, and we're going to have kids in like a year or two. And it's going to, I'll be kind of like an old dad, but I appreciate that I got to experience and do all the things that I did. And then on the flip side, it's like, damn, if I was 18 years old and then my kid, just kind of like, the same situation with your grandpa and your dad, or even you, right? You, but I wouldn't be the man I am today because I was definitely a fuckhead. So
we can all be.
Yes.
I'd definitely say my dad kept me pretty tight under his thumb as far as like making sure. I didn't get to really have friends growing up.
Wow.
Like he was pretty tight about me going over to, or not going over to other people's houses. Kids in the neighborhood weren't allowed to come into our house.
Why?
That was his rules.
Wow.
He didn't want me going and being around fucked off parents, basically. Yeah. Like you said, there's a lot of parents out there who aren't doing the right thing.
For sure.
And so for me, it was, and as I grew up, I was always like, what a dick. He doesn't let me hang out and have friends. But now I don't need friends. I mean, I do have a lot of friends, but I prefer to be alone a lot of times.
I get that. I get that.
Just the way it is for me.
Dude, when I was younger, I always needed to be around someone. I always had to have friends around, man. This house would be fucking packed with people, dude. I mean, this room used to be like a barber shop, right? And I mean, I would be cutting someone's hair. There'd be 3 people on the couch. It looks so different than this. There'd be like 3 people on the couch. There'd be fucking 5 people in the living room, and that's how it was. Like I always needed to be around people, and my houses were always the places where people would come over.
Sure. I've been that guy too.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I'm 33, almost 34 years old, and I'm like, I don't fucking care. I just I don't mind being by myself.
That more so, the more people we have hanging out with us, that there's a lot of people that just
suck
dick
you dry,
ride, like want to just.
Dude, they just want to suck.
They want more and more and more.
Yeah,
and then you finally realize, like, whoa, what am I doing with all these people hanging out? They're not really up to any good.
Exactly. It's quality, not quantity, man.
For sure. And you have to learn that through
trial and error.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Did you answer that?
Actually, so I wanted to make sure, because when you said my dad would have been like 17, I was like, that's wrong. So my dad's 66 right now.
Oh, okay. So 21.
Okay, so he's 21. I was 25 when I had my first.
Okay. All right. But still, either way.
Sure I was like, he wasn't banging at 17.
Oh, man, that's crazy, dude. That's freaking crazy. But still, I mean, you're 45. He is, 66. It's, he's still, Yeah. I mean, you're a young dad.
He still acts super young as far as, he still rides mountain bikes, and he's just up every morning at 5 o'clock, and he lives on a 35-acre hill above Canyon Lake, where he walks his hill basically routine every day, to where he's at least walking up to the top 3 times to sometimes 11 times a day, where that's his thing. He's retired from construction, but still helps run his company through one of his best dudes that is still younger and does the custom pools.
And so it's still his company, or did he sell it?
I think he pretty much just like sold it over.
Yeah.
But he also is the guy who, if clients that had pools built, they want to talk to Ted, then they get a hold of him, and he'll go and check on different things.
Yeah.
His specialty is building like custom rock, kind of like how Disneyland, if you go to Disneyland, you see all the custom
of course.
rock. That's the type of custom stuff that he's into.
Oh my
Waterfalls.
gosh. Dude, that's so cool. It's so creative and such an artwork. And then that's going to lead over to you, right?
That's for my dad.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. Dude, I'll send you, we'll definitely cut clips about your pops in this for you, for sure, and you can share it with him.
Thank you.
Absolutely, man. So You talked about real quick about your dad's creativity, or I said your dad's creative because of the rocks, right, and the waterfall, and that's a direct to you, a correlation to you because tattooing, right? Does that make sense?
Well, this is a funny story that I just recently heard, like I'd say within the last month, because I'm hanging out with my pop, and he asked me what I've been doing, and I said, "Oh, I'm painting a lot of flying spark plugs." Because it's just something routine, like this tattoos of a cartoon spark plug.
Yeah.
And I've always drawn flying eyes, flying spark plugs, motorcycle helmets. This is part of growing up in the things I guess I was attracted to. But my dad says, "Oh, really? Spark plugs, huh? Because you've drawn spark plugs for as long as I can remember." Yeah, you just drawn spark plugs. The next thing I know, I see this thing flicker in his head where he's like, "Wait a second, I met your mom in art class. I remember because I was working on a paper mache spark plug. It was about 3 feet tall."
The fuck.
Yeah, and this just came up within the last month of me going and hanging out with him. He says this, and I'm just like dumbfounded going, "Wait a second, you were in art class. You're building a paper mache spark plug." And he said it was a Champion spark plug. And then he goes, "Yeah, that's where I met your mom in art class. I was a senior. Your mom was a freshman." And I remember after I was done making the spark plug, I went over and I bopped her on the head with it.
What the heck?
I'm like, whoa. So I walked over and said something to my mom about, "Hey, so you met Dad in art class?" And she's like, "Oh my gosh," and starts getting into it. And then I go, "What about the spark plug that he made?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, that's right." And
no way.
Yeah, weird, right? That's just like,
that's fucking crazy, man.
So
that's something,
like,
dude. Just like it's in your DNA, right?
That's what I thought,
dude.
After hearing that, I'm just like, "Well, that is super weird," because my whole life being an artist, it's always been, what's the word I'm looking for? You got motocross and you got artwork.
Yeah.
And so those two things don't really vibe together. If you're an artist, you're not really an athlete. You're kind of just doing your own thing.
Yeah.
Motocross, you're a full-blown athlete. You got to go to the gym, be in the best shape. So it's always been like something that's kind of torn me apart.
Yeah.
To be able to balance both of them. And I haven't really been able to balance the art in the motocross or the bike riding until recently.
Okay.
But yeah, I remember my dad kind of like bagging on artists, people with tattoos. I mean, I remember my dad saying people with tattoos are people that have serious problems.
Dude.
And he doesn't have any tattoos. My mom doesn't have any tattoos. Yep. And I just remember kind of feeling like almost like a weird kind of hate vibe from my dad about artwork. So for him to tell me that he met my mom in art class, it was really shocking.
It's like an oxymoron.
Like, right? And he said the only reason he was in art class in the first place was just to have like get easy credits, you know, as an elective.
For sure.
And so, but he is an artist, straight up. That dude,
come on.
As far as an architect, as far as sculpting things out of concrete. And then my mom, she's a crazy artist. She's into, well, since I was a kid, she's done all kinds of art from everything. She can paint. I remember seeing rocks that she etched with animals, like full blown. You look at one of those like a water skip rock, whatever, like that big, and she would have like deers and where you're like, whoa, that's
she should
like,
sell those, man.
Yeah, and now I don't know, she's into taking care of her house, but their house that I grew up in since 7th grade got out, that whole downstairs that I told you about is like her crap collection of all kinds of stuff. Like, if you say you need something, she's got 5 of them.
She's like, here you go.
Sure. She's a
mom.
book collector. Plus she's collected all of the memorabilia that I've been in from all the years. So any type of toys, magazines, she's collected everything.
Dude, as your parents, they have to be so fucking proud. I mean,
thank you,
dude. They have to be like, I mean, when I have a kid, and I will always, I can't say always, but I hope to always be proud of them. But if you have a kid and they grow up to be, you know, what you have done, right? It's just, it's amazing.
I think what's cool nowadays is that I've had my own kids and they can be grandparents, and same with my sisters, and that our kids are maniacs and they are good at what they do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like my son Myri is insane at snowboarding, and he's won championships in mountain bikes and done BMX along with my youngest. And then my daughter, she's done everything, you know, just all kinds of different stuff. But her main thing is being an artist. And at her age, she's well beyond how good I could draw when I was her age.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying? I was drawing like cartoons with shoulders out like this, where my daughter,
it's like his daughter's so good. So good. His daughter's so good.
And
so
it's pretty,
good.
It makes me proud to
You can
be
pull up
like
some.
How, you know, it's in her DNA.
Yes,
to be
exactly.
Able to do that.
It's so crazy. It's like, you know, I look look at a dog, right, as a puppy, right, and it just goes and it knows to like lift up its leg and go pee. Like, no one taught him that, or you know, how does it know that, right? And so it's like the same. I know it's just kind of a funny analogy, but it's like the same thing with human beings. It's like when you have kids and like you're very creative, you're really good at this, like it just is implanted inside of them so that they just are innately, you know, have this ability to be good at that or be better at that, and could be great if they put the work into it, right?
Exactly. I heard something the other day. I've been watching a bunch of motivational stuff on YouTube, and it said for a champion to be a champion, it takes 10,000 hours of practice to be that champion level.
Yes.
To be a legend, it takes 20,000 hours. Well, I think my dad put 20,000 hours in me by the time I was 18 years old. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, look at that, man.
And that's just, you know, been something that I've lived with, to where I'm like, man, if I want to do this, I want to do it the best I can. And if I don't want to do it, then get out of the game and go do something else.
Absolutely.
And if you're going to do something else, keep taking the steps to learn how to be the best at it. And I definitely owe that to my dad, to where he was like, dude, if you're not going to be the best at what you're trying to do each and every day, don't do it.
Exactly.
There's something else out there that you're going to want to do more than something where you're like, this really isn't that fun.
Dude, it's 100% correct. You know, you saying that about 10,000 hours, 20,000 hours, this is like my favorite quote, you know, of all times, right? And it's from a Macklemore song, and it's greats weren't great because at birth they could paint. Greats were great because they paint a lot. Greats weren't great because at birth they could paint. Greats were great because they paint a lot.
For sure.
You
It's
know?
so true, because it takes practice for whatever you're going to be good at. It takes practice.
It's repetition. Like you said, it's just doing it over and over and over again. And you also said it's like, if this isn't, or your dad says, like, if you're not great at this, or you're not putting all your effort into this, right, do something else.
For sure.
And unfortunately, in today's society in America, so many people get stuck in the fucking rat race, right? And then they wake up one day and they're 40, 50, 60 years old, and, you know, they haven't done what they wanted to do. And so having, you know, parents that are supportive and fucking pushing you to be the best.
It definitely is easier when you have parents that push you to do something.
Yes.
And find what you enjoy.
Oh,
and I
100%.
definitely believe I did that with my kids, as far as like, hey, if you aren't into this, then let's find something else that you're into. And I never felt like I was overly pushing any of my kids to do something that they may not want to be doing.
Absolutely.
You know, I do definitely feel like my dad put a lot of effort into making sure that he wanted me to be a motocross bike rider, but he didn't beat it into me.
There's a difference.
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
a huge difference, right? At the beginning of the podcast, you're talking about the two different types of dads, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, it's pivotal for who you are and into your career. You know, when things started taking off for you and you started traveling and, you know, getting recognized, what did that feel like? Like, what went through your head? Did you have, I sometimes ask this to people, did you have like imposter syndrome? Like where you're like, you know, for you, it's like, this isn't me, right? Or I don't understand, or having these feelings that I can't live up to this.
I think I was in awe of like, wow, I get to travel with these guys, because it was Supercross.
Yeah.
When I first started getting to travel, it was because of racing Supercross. And I got to travel with the dudes that I looked up to that I was like, wow, I belong with these guys.
Yeah.
And they have always made me feel comfortable.
Yeah.
You know, any of the guys that I ever got to hang out with, whether it was Supercross or getting to hang out with some of the best dudes in the tattoo world, they always made me feel really comfortable, like I belonged there. I never felt like, okay, I suck. I shouldn't be here.
That's it. Right?
So I think the worst thing for me was being probably a little too confident in myself and not being able to take baby steps, you know, and then that's why I would always be hurt. You know, I'd be at the Supercross and I'm the younger dude looking up to the guys who are on top of their game. And I'm like, well, if they can do that, I can do that. But when you're a kid and you're stuck in a kid body and you're dealing with men who have been racing motocross and can just put the bike where they want, it makes a big difference in how you can maneuver the bike and get the bike to do what you want. And so being a kid, I was hurt a lot. And I think it was due to being overconfident.
What about when you started getting into your adult body and, you know, things changed?
I think that would have been more towards where the whole freestyle thing started happening towards the late 90s and then into the 2000s, where I was pretty much just saturated with jumping and freestyle motocross.
Yep.
You know, kind of the racing was kind of pushed away. And with freestyle motocross, it's such a different deal being on a bike for, say, 2 minutes at the most.
Yeah.
Where you're going out there, you're hitting the biggest jumps and trying to do a routine that's impressive to the judges or to the fans. And I don't know. I love motocross. I just went out to Fox Raceway at Paula yesterday and got to ride with one of my heroes growing up, which is Ryan Hughes.
Okay.
And I got to talk to Ryan about life, and I was really surprised. I asked him how old he was. He said he was 47. And I was like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah,
isn't that funny,
yeah,
right?
I'm sure. I'm going, dude, you're only 2 years older than me. I just turned 45. And then, you know, I knew he grew up with Jeremy McGrath, who Jeremy has the same birthday as me.
Oh, shit.
And he just turned 49. So I expected.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah. And I expected Ryan to be right there at like 49, 50 years old. I actually thought he was older than Jeremy. So that was a super surprise to me. And I went out there and put in some laps with him. Maybe, to be honest, like 3 laps I was able to hang on with him.
Yeah.
But I just recently started getting back into the whole motocross thing. So I didn't expect a whole lot out of myself. I was actually surprised that I hung with him as long as I did. And it's just crazy because I don't feel like I am a big dude. You know, I'm not tall. I don't have freaking Superman looking arms. I don't take steroids. You know what I'm saying? I'm just not on that page. And always felt like in my head that my body kind of held me back from being like the superstar motocross dude that's winning everything. But that wasn't my plan. Or that plan wasn't for me, let's say, you know, and to me, there's a higher power that makes my life happen without me stressing out about anything. I could step back and just go through my daily routine and know that at the end of the week, the effort that I put in was just meant to be. And it's going to lead up to something bigger and better and greater than what I can even picture. Because like when I went out and won X Games, I just told myself leading up to winning the gold medal, I just said I want to win medals. Like, you know, there had been so many years prior of me just showing up and probably having a bad attitude that I was there because I wasn't racing. But then once I put that little bit of motivation in and was like, dude, I'm waking up early. I'm going to go prep my freestyle course. I'm going to just put in the work.
Yeah.
And then I showed up to Gravity Games. I ended up second behind Pastrana in freestyle.
Wow.
And then I went to X Games, and I ended up winning the freestyle. I ended up winning the best trick. I ended up getting silver medal in the step up, which I wasn't even signed up to do step up. My wife at the time she was like, hey, why aren't you doing step up? Like, you can do step up. And I was like, well, okay, you're pretty much asking me to do it. I'll do it. And I got silver medal, you know? So it's just like a surprise. And the effort that anyone puts into something, as long as you don't make your goals too high and like over the top where you're going to be bummed if you don't accomplish them, you never know what can happen. But as long as you put in a little bit of effort towards reaching some type of goal, it can be amazing. And then after you're done, it can be shocking to where you're like, whoa, I fucking did that.
Yep. Dude, absolutely. Yeah. It's so important to say that because so many people set these high level expectations, right?
Exactly.
And it's just like, no, fucking stop doing that. It's these little bits at a time. It's like, okay, I have this bigger goal, but what are the steps to get there? And so that first step, that is my goal to get to that step, right? And then what's the next step? And then the next step. And then one day you wake up and you're like, fuck, I'm up here, right? But if you constantly are trying to get to the top super fucking fast, it's not going to happen.
And you're burning yourself out. You're getting hurt, and you're going backwards.
Exactly. That's it. I mean, in anything that you do in life, it doesn't matter if it's sports, work, business, whatever the hell it is, right? It's the same mindset over and over again. And so many people just try to reach too high and can't succeed, and they don't understand why. And so, for me, I used to be that person, right? And so now I'm at this thing where it's just like a little bit. I have this bigger goal, but that's over here.
I get a lot of people asking me, like, how should I do this?
Yeah.
Baby steps.
Boom.
That's it. Act like you're a baby learning to walk, and at least as you're walking or crawling in that direction to where you can see yourself possibly being. Yeah. But don't put high expectations where you may not get there.
Absolutely.
Just try.
Absolutely. That's it, man. That's it. I mean, I can't say that enough. When I started this podcast, right, less than a year ago, man, I don't know. I didn't know where it was going, right? I did it because I had constant conversations. Like, so I used to do a lot of hair, and I run a professional hairstyling tool company now. But I also used to be on the creative side, and I had a clientele. I mean, he used to be my client, right? And I'd be cutting hair all the time. And I was the type of person where instead of a 30-minute haircut, it would turn into a 2-hour haircut. 3-hour haircut. We get into deep, long...
I'll see it in an hour. No, I'm going to see it about 3
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. And just like so many people are like, like, have you thought about starting a podcast? And I was super into Rogan and just like all of these things. And then, last year for my birthday, my wife bought me not this setup, but a 3-mic fucking setup, podcast setup. And the year before that, she had gotten me like lessons, one-on-one lessons with a comedian that could help me like work on a skit because I wanted to do that, right? Just try it out. And I got too nervous. I didn't do it, right? I didn't do it. And so when she got me the podcast set up, I was like,
you have no choice.
I had no choice. And my friend gave me the best quote, and I talk about it all the time. It's 4 words. Just fucking do it, right? That's it. Just fucking do it. Whatever happens, happens. And so I just did it, man. And lo and behold, just these little bits. And it just kept on going up and up and up. And wherever this goes, it goes, right?
Sure. And you've done how many shows
now?
Almost
53. So yeah, like 53, wow. I guess.
Within a year.
Yeah. I mean, February will be a freaking year, man. Thank you. I don't know why I'm clapping, but
fucking do it.
Exactly. It's exactly it, man.
Awesome.
It's exactly it, man. I mean, and it's just the amazing people that I have had the ability to meet, right? In a short period of time. And it's just been so fucking cool. And then I turned this into a fucking studio and got 3 cameras set up, and then I got, producer and an editor and all of this stuff. And it's just, listen, man, I have a full-time job, right? And I run a professional hairstyling tool company, and that's amazing. Wherever this goes, it goes. I'm just enjoying every single moment. Yep. And I've got to meet some of the most amazing people that I never thought I'd ever have the chance to meet. And you're one of them. And so it's been so fucking cool. Awesome. Thank you. So yeah, I want to kind of bring it back to your story, right? It's for you, when did it come that time where you had to dial back with the with you know, freestyle and all of that?
Pretty much just going through a divorce. You know,
Shit.
me and my wife just were at a point where I don't think we trusted each other anymore, and sometimes that happens to people. And like today, I told you I was looking at a magazine of her and I and our first kid, Michaela. It's a Japanese magazine. I posted a couple of pictures on my Instagram story. That's awesome. But looking back at that, like, you know, I still to this day love my ex-wife. She's a beautiful, rad human being that, you know, she's just different. Like each and every one of us should be different. We shouldn't be posers. We shouldn't be trying to do anything that isn't out of our heart. And I really think she's done everything she's up to now. Everything she's done is for her and out of her heart. And she's an artist, and she didn't even know that she was an artist. And I also say this sometimes to people, that I ruined my marriage by buying her a guitar.
Why? How so?
Because we were in Hawaii. We were at a trip in Hawaii for a freestyle event, and we went to a music store. I ended up buying her first guitar, and from that day on, all she did was play her guitar and learn music and write songs. Then I bought her a piano, and then she started learning the piano. So super musically inclined, but never knew that. Her growing up in her family, she didn't have instruments. Then I ended up letting her use my art tools, my paintbrushes, my markers. And then when I would travel, I'd come home and she would actually have like this ridiculous, crazy painting and be like, here, I painted this for you.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, wow, you're an artist. And so
through and through.
So she still, to this day, she plays her guitar, writes music. And I think, just like I said, when it was our time to part ways, she was doing her, I was doing me, and it's worked. You know, our kids are still what we live and strive for, both of us. Our older two are off doing their thing. They've learned from both mom and dad and seeing us go through our ups and downs. But I think when we had to go through our divorce and part ways, I ended up, and I remember, you know, when the divorce papers were signed, I was just kind of like, whoa.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't expect to get divorced right then and there at the time my kids were young. I think in the back of my head, I always knew it didn't work out. Like our family life, as far as my parents didn't dig her, and I didn't kind of dig her parents. And she came from a parted family, separated family. My parents are still together. And I think just there's certain aspects to our marriage that just didn't jive. And I always felt like, okay, well, when my kids are old enough, I'm going to probably end up moving on and she'll do her thing. Well, it didn't work out that way. I came home from Europe one time. I was on the Masters of Dirt tour over in Europe and came home. She's basically moved out of the house and doing her thing. And I kind of wasn't... I was surprised about the whole thing happening and kind of tried to keep my marriage together for as long as I could. But then I just realized, like, whoa, I can't continue to put the effort into my bike riding because it's just not working. I'm not on the same page to keep my sponsors happy, to be able to strive for my resume, to tell my sponsors where I'm going to travel. Like, I didn't want to travel anymore. I was just burned. I was like, man, my life has definitely gone in a different direction. I don't want to miss my kids anymore. You know, I'd be over in Europe for 8 weeks and just be the whole time like, man, I want to go home. I want to be with my kids. And I would come home earlier than what I was expected to and then fly back and forth. And I don't know, it's just one of those things where I felt like the divorce was supposed to happen. And so we worked through that. And I committed myself to my tattooing and my artwork and then just kind of pushed the motorcycles aside. And luckily I could do that. And I have those two type of things, my art and my bike riding. So once I committed to my tattooing, I basically told her, hey, I think you and your boyfriend are, you know, going to take care of the kids. and I'm going to go do my thing. And I lived out of my Toyota Tundra for almost 6-7 months, traveling up and down the West Coast from Southern California, Northern California, where I tattooed at a buddy's shop in Lemoore, Northern California, up the Redding area, then into Oregon, Grants Pass. And at the same time, I was traveling and basically living off of my Facebook, because I would say, hey, I'm traveling up towards Oregon. If there's anyone who wants to get tattooed, I'm going to be at this tattoo convention, or I'm going to be coming through this city. Yeah. And so people would be like, hey, I'm near this tattoo shop. And then I would hit that tattoo shop and say, hey, this is Mike Metzger. I'm coming through your town. Can I work out of your shop for 2 days, 5 days, get everyone situated and tattooed? Then I'd be, boom, I'm out of here. I'm going to the next town. And I would pretty much shops through Oregon, shops up in Washington. I also had a lot of help through Solon Clothing.
Yes.
Which Jeremy and Ryan, Solon. Yeah. Jeremy and Ryan really put in a lot of effort to help me out through the years of tattooing. Jeremy's the dude who kind of introduced me to the convention scene, which is completely different from just a tattoo shop life scene. You got the best artists in the world that are traveling around and doing amazing artwork on people's bodies. And I ended up going to my first tattoo convention, and I'll remember it for the rest of my life, in Ventura. And it was, I partied so hard the night before and kind of tried to talk myself out of it. And I talked to Jeremy the next day early, and he's like, where are you at? I'm like, I think I'm going to pass on this one. He's like, no, you're not. Get your fucking ass up here. So I got in my car and I drove out to Ventura, which was almost 3 hours from where I was living. And I get into the tattoo convention, and he introduces me to James Strickland, to Rich Panetta, Roman Abrigo.
Damn,
and these are all cats that I looked up to through just looking at tattoo magazines and going like, fuck, these dudes are on a whole different level.
Gnarly.
And to say the least, I was kind of nervous, almost fanboying out, where I'm like, I don't belong here. Well, then I sit down and I talk to Rich Panetta, and he's like, oh my God, dude, I've looked up to you my whole life as far as watching you on the Krusty videos. And I fucked myself up because I wanted to be like you and ride dirt bikes. And I'm like, okay, well, that's crazy. Then I'm talking to James Strickland, and then James is saying the exact same thing. Dude, you don't know how many times I freaking wiped out on my motorcycle because I just wanted to be like you watching Krusties. And same thing with Roman. And
Damn, son.
So I've gotten to hang out with all those guys. I got to work with Roman at his shop in Ukaipa, which is Artistic Element. I've gotten to hang out with all of the coolest dudes in the tattoo scene, not only be inspired to do better artwork, but to party with these guys on a level that you don't get to do things like that. No. And it's being able to be close and just be like, whoa, these are just normal, cool people that put a lot of heart and soul into their passion, doing the best they can.
100%, man. I love that, man. I absolutely love that story because, you know, a lot of times we can get in our own head about shit, right?
For sure.
Dude, and imagine, I don't know, just the sound of that moment, that story right there, how pivotal it was for your tattoo career and everything that you're doing now, right?
Definitely.
And so it's really freaking cool because, you know, me, I grew up, you know, watching obviously you and all the skateboarding stuff, but also, you know, looking up to like Roman and all of his fucking amazing work and Rockin' Sullen and just seeing these tattoo artists do such insane things and the level just getting higher and higher and higher and higher and higher. And so, you know, for you breaking into that industry, being able after, a rough breakup, right? For someone that you obviously truly cared about and just things happen. It's life. And then to be able to kind of have this next chapter in your life, it's a beautiful thing.
For sure.
It really is.
It's crazy to look back and just to be able to know that all the people, really, all the people that I've met who've been really important in my life have been each and every step of the way part of that chapter, part of that next chapter. And each of them have just like touched me in a different way to where like you don't really realize what's going on at the time. But when you stop later on and you look back and you go, whoa, I'm here right now because that person hooked me up with that person. I got a chance to do this. And then now with me being my age, my 2 older kids growing up, and me being able to be inspired by pretty much my kids, my youngest saying he wanted a dirt bike. And now I'm like full blown 110% back on my motorcycle and being able to balance it with what my job is. I pay my bills 110% because of tattooing and doing the best job I can because of the people that have really taught me like, hey, don't fucking go tattoo if you're not going to put 110% into it. Just like my dad was like, you know, inspired me to do 110% on my dirt bike or whatever I'm doing. Because I don't think tattooing from the time I did start was something that I really enjoyed. It was just like, okay, cool. I'm not riding my motorcycle, but I can still pay my bills and tattoo and do my art. But now I really enjoy it. Like, you know, and I stay pretty sober as far as I've been addicted, I'd say, to bong rips for many years of my life, especially once I went through a divorce and I wasn't riding motorcycles anymore. I loved weed from the time I was 18 and started smoking weed with my buddy Nick Ciotti, the rock climber. I just always enjoyed what weed did to me and how it made me be able to focus more on my artwork.
Yep.
Well, just within the last couple months, I'll be honest with you, the last time I smoked weed was the last day of September.
Damn.
And then I woke up after I dodged a couple parties. The last day of September, I woke up October 1st in Big Bear after being at a party down in Temecula where I grew up and went to high school. I woke up that morning going, dude, I did it. I didn't party as hard as I wanted to with the friends that I grew up with. I made it home safe. And I woke up and I turned Joe Rogan's deal
Sober
on.
October.
And he said Sober October. And I was like, this fucker's inspiring me right now. And I just felt like maybe the couple months leading up to that happening, I was trying to slow down and get off the weed and just feel like, man, I just want to change my path right now. Yeah. And so with Joe Rogan telling, you know, everyone that his friends are a bunch of dickheads that can't get off of their drugs, he inspired me for reals where I was like, dude, I can do this. I want to be like that guy. I want to be able to drink coffee and water and work out and sweat all day, every day. And so I've freaking, you know, had withdrawals for about 3 weeks to where I was like, dude, this sucks. And I get home at the end of the day and I had to talk myself out of not taking a little puff to sleep. Yeah. But I got through it, and I've done it before. I think the last time I took a weed break was like 2.5 years ago. Okay. And I took a break for like 4 months and jumped in my car and did a road trip back east. But then I came home and got hammered, and just one thing leads to another. So I've been sober off of smoking weed.
That's good.
I'm not a drinker. Yeah. But I'm, you know, I like to have some drinks and mingle with people. And I'm, you know,
you're a social drinker.
Yeah, social drinker. And I could say that, you know, there's been times where my social drinking has been more than social to where I just, you know, I've gotten human. Yeah, I've gotten a DUI, and I think that for me that was a learning lesson that I would never want to go through that again, and I would never want any of my friends or anyone that I could say something to that if you are going to drink, you're going to party, dude, get an Uber. Yeah. You know, like be smart about it. Because, come on now. You know, I've had friends, you know.
Yes.
For sure.
You're talking to the mic.
Back in our early partying days, we didn't have the Uber.
No,
it's too easy to be able to make it home or get somewhere without having to put yourself in that situation.
Yeah. Not even in our town here in Santa Clarita, there is literally a phone number you can call, and they will come pick you up.
And so I think that
jeez, I did not know that.
Yeah, I think as far as like words of wisdom to anyone that, you know, kids want to party.
Yeah.
People want to party. People want to be social and do that part of their life. Be safe, be smart, and freaking have somebody that's sober get you home because it's way too easy.
Yeah, it's way too easy. It's
Yeah.
way too easy. And it's so funny hearing you say, I want to bring it back just a little bit, talking about Rogan, right? How he inspired you. I talk about this quite frequently on the podcast and off the podcast, how Rogan has helped change my entire fucking life, man.
That's awesome.
You know, from working out and taking care of my body, and just really opening my brain and seeing both sides of the argument, and not just be so stuck to my ideas, because my ideas can always fucking change. My beliefs can always change.
For sure.
Be open-minded, right?
For sure.
And it was another one of the reasons why I started the podcast, and it's why I have a huge slew of people, and it not only was it because of things of my past, right, but it was also because I was just inspired by everything that this man is doing. I've never been inspired by, an actor, a comedian, or anything like that, right? It's like, it just wasn't me, but someone like him, you can look up to, and so hearing you say it, it's fucking cool, man.
He changed my life.
Exactly.
I'm telling you, he really
it's so
did.
crazy, right? It's so fucking crazy.
They can have an impact on so many different lives.
Yes. Yeah. That's
definitely.
why he is who he is.
Where it's at.
That's why he is who he is. And that's, it's beautiful, man. It really is. And then getting to the point of like, fucking smoking weed, dude, has always been a big part of my life. But as I've gotten older, I have realized that getting stoned all the time, it makes me slow. It makes me lazy, right? My cousin can get stoned all day and no problem. He's like a beast, right? And then there's other people I know that smoke weed and they're just, they think they're fine, but they're really not, right? Sure. But I had cut back on smoking weed because I used to smoke like an ounce a week, right? And then I cut back. But recently, I have introduced it's an amazing company. It's called Secret Nature. They make high-end indoor CBD flowers. So it's like 23% CBD, and it's like 0.3% THC. So it's low enough to where you can go online, type in Secret Nature CBD, you can buy it in all 50 states, right? But they grow it at the quality of like your top shelf, Master Kush and, all the top shelf flavors, right? But it's very high in CBD, low. So you can still smoke the weed, right? And I can function. I'll get a little head change, but like I'm on top of my shit and that shit's gone within 15, 20 minutes. But I just enjoy the art of like rolling a blunt and fucking smoking.
I enjoyed the art of taking a big bong snap, from the time I woke up to the time I went to bed. But I was on a good routine.
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to be an athlete.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like waking up and making sure that I have my kids' program set, especially like through the distance learning where kids have to be on the computer now.
Yeah.
I'd get up early, make breakfast, take a snap, get my kid out of bed, get him behind the computer, go back in the garage, take another snap, come in, set up my tattoo studio, which is at my house, private studio.
I love that.
And it would just motivate me to like be in that mind frame, like, okay, I'm waiting for my client. I'm going to check out some artwork, draw a little bit. Okay, my client's here. Okay, I can handle this.
Yeah.
And then just be
You're high functioning.
Yeah, and then be in that routine of, okay, I'm tattooing for the next 2 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours. I definitely will admit that, during those tattoo hours, I did take a lot of breaks to take snaps.
Dude, that's fine.
Now I don't. I don't. It's kind of crazy because now, like, my tattoo work goes really quick.
Does it?
I'll do.
Would you like almost plan that out? Be like, okay, I have like a 6-hour tattoo session.
For sure.
So I'm gonna take the snap before. We're going to take a 2-hour break, 2-hour break, snap, right? So
yeah. No, it was like routine. Like, okay, I'm in this tat about an hour and a half, 2 hours. Hey, well, I'm going to go take a break on the back porch. And most of the time, my clients are going to smoke weed with me. And I would. And then chill out and talk and then get back into it. But now I just boom, and I get it done. So sometimes, like, I'm working on a tattoo, and I'm getting towards the end of it, and I'm like, whoa, it's almost done already. And I'm like surprised.
Do you
but
feel that you're in like a better mind frame
for
now
sure
that you didn't do that? So
for sure.
You're that.
Well, if I was stoned,
like
I would have told you that
smoke
my
weed.
artwork was way better when I was stoned.
Of course.
But now that I'm sober and I've gotten through that whole part of like, I don't need that, it doesn't do me any good while I'm doing my art, my work, it's better. I mean, straight up.
Adverse effect on you, but now that you see that you don't have to have that scheduled, your full mind frame
the whole time.
Yeah,
I'm on point. I'm on point the whole time.
That's
I have 30 minutes left. Oh, then it's going to be my break. Now I can focus that I'm about to take a bong rip because in 30 minutes that's my scheduled time.
For sure.
Now your whole mind frame is just
and I'm saturated with what I'm doing. You know, 110% of my focus is going in to what I'm doing on that tattoo without even any second nature, as far as I'm not hesitant on what the next line is or where I'm going to shade. It just comes out, and to me, it's so much better than being stoned. And I think for me too, also being stoned, I had a really bad attitude.
Yeah,
I did. My attitude was not like it is when I'm crispy and
no way.
Yeah, for sure.
Why do you think that is?
To be honest, I think it's because I love riding. I love bikes. I love being an athlete.
Yeah.
And so I think I was just, when I'm in that mind frame of being stoned, that attitude as far as not being able to go and do the things that I want to do.
Yeah.
Like even going to the skate park and riding scooters with my kid, or riding my skateboard with my other kid, or now wanting to get on my dirt bike and go rip laps or ride with Colby Raha, who's my roommate at our warehouse. It's just so much easier to kind of push what I want to do aside because I'm in the moment and trying to do the best artwork I can for that person who's paying me to be the best I can.
Yes.
And that's really, I think, the main motivation is that these people are actually paying me top dollar to do the best I can. And when it's all said and done, there's nothing like the feeling of that person like being in awe and going, I can't believe this is just the best tattoo ever. This is my favorite tattoo. And it just makes you feel good when you do good things for people.
100%, man. I really, I think that's important, right? You know, to appreciate your work, having people appreciate your work, and being honest. Like, hell yeah, man, that makes me feel good. It's like, why do I do this in the first place? Yeah, the money, right, is important, but at the same time, it's that feeling once it's done.
Yeah, and also that feeling of that the money is
not
most important.
Yes, it's
you know?
number two.
And I think when you're in that mind frame of just being saturated with, okay, I want another bong rip, I want to, you know, be high. You think about things that you really shouldn't be thinking about, like how much money am I going to make today?
Yep.
And now I make more money than I ever have tattooing, and I don't have to think about it.
Exactly.
It's just like when my tattoo client gets there at 10:30, let's sit down, let's talk about what you want. I'm going to pound out the artwork on my iPad, and we're going to get to town. And when I'm done, whether it's a 2-hour tattoo or an 8-hour tattoo, it's going to look fucking badass because I put my whole mind, soul, and heart into making it look as good as it can.
Absolutely. How long have you been tattooing now?
Since I was 18, full on.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and I've had some breaks, but I'd say it was really cool too, because when I raced the Motocross Nationals when I was younger, I actually took my tattoo equipment on the road, and I would make extra money tattooing at people's houses, tattooing at hotels to pay for my next race.
No way,
yeah, so
dude.
Tattooing's been a big part of my life for a long time, but I would say the last 8 years is when I told you the story about the Solon guys, Ryan and Jeremy, really getting me like in tune and really like putting me in that situation where I'm dealing with the best dudes in the world, and you can't not appreciate who these people are and how they got there.
Absolutely.
So then it made me really like go, whoa, I don't want to tattoo if I'm not going to be putting in the best of my best.
Yes.
So,
and that's dialed all the way back to your pops, man. You know, it's so funny how these things happen, man. And I am definitely sure that your kids will say the same thing about it, 30 fucking years from now, 40 years from now, when they're on a podcast because they did, something as amazing as you. As we start to dial down, right, what is the next chapter for you? Like, what does, man, you're 45, right? What do the first 45 years, right, looked like this, right? Obviously, the past 8 years, you've really been going hard with tattooing, but like, what do you see the next part of Mike Metzger's?
Well, it's so hard to picture anything right now as far as this whole sickness that the world is feeling, with so much just being shut down. And let's just start with young kids can't go and play ball sports. That's a family deal for families to take their kids to soccer, to baseball.
Yes.
I never really did team sports, even though at times I wanted to. And my dad took me to soccer when I was younger. I think the first game I played, the ball smashed me in the nose and I'm bleeding. And then after the game, my dad's like, "Sure you want to do that?" I'm like, "No, let's go race motocross." I tried playing football through Linfield Christian School that I went to, and I enjoyed football for a little bit, but I broke my arm. Okay, I'm healed up. Let's go race motocross. So team sports don't really exist anymore right now in this time. No. If they ever do again,
I'm sure.
Which we hope.
I'm sure, right?
But it's just weird, man.
It's just so weird.
I feel like we're going through this great reset of life.
Yeah, I know.
Things change. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the way my heart feels at times, I'm like, it just doesn't seem like it's ever going to go back to what it used to be.
For sure.
Well, my sports is X Games.
Yeah.
Or Nitro Circus.
Yeah.
And when I say Nitro Circus, I've never done one, but I would like to do the quarter pipe.
Yeah.
I hang out with Colby Raha all the time. He is the gold medalist for Real Moto for X Games. He's the gold medalist for quarter pipe for X Games and Nitro Circus. And I was one of the first dudes. Me and Ronnie Renner were the first dudes that got to go out and hit a quarter pipe years ago. I think it was right around 2007, 2008, because I was riding for Monster. It's like when I first started riding for him. And then shortly after that, that's when it kind of ended because my going through divorce and everything. Yeah. Well, then once I put my bike aside and I'm still watching what's going on with the sport, that's when Ronnie Renner did the Red Bull quarter pipe event and like set a world record for himself. Yeah. And then shortly after that, then X Games started doing the quarter pipe event at their X Games event. And that's like when Raha started winning. A couple other kids that are just super badass at doing that. Well, I still want to do that.
Yes,
and I don't care. I don't care how old I am.
Nah.
It's just a number. And the cool thing is I feel young every day. I go to my office. I set up to tattoo. Who's the guy who's rolling into my shop? It's Colby Raha. He's 26 years old. And to me, even saying that, it cracks me up because the dude has such a good head on his shoulders and he does not seem that young.
That's so dope, man. That's so dope. Yeah.
So for me, the next chapter is really just continuing to ride as much as I can.
Yeah.
Continuing to tattoo and do the best tattoos I can for the people, my clients that want me to do that art. And continue to talk to my kids every day and to continue to just be the best dad I can, to be there for my kids, to trust the people around me. Yeah. If there's people coming into my life that I feel are shady, then I'm smart enough now to make sure that they don't hang out very long.
Fuck yeah.
To continue to grow closer to my parents. Because my parents know better. They've taught me a lot of cool shit in my life, and I continue to look up to both of them as humans that do good shit for themselves. Over the years, I grew up thinking my mom and dad should be divorced. They were crazy. They were always pissed. But I think it was more because when you have kids, it's hard to be on the same level and do the things you want for your kids and be on the same page with your spouse. So when my sisters, because it's me and my two younger sisters, I think once we all got out of the house, my mom and dad became best friends.
Again, right?
You know, my dad was never into street bikes or Harleys. Next thing I know, my dad's got a collection of like 7, 8 Harleys and Indian bikes and going on rides with my mom.
No way.
And my mom used to ride motorcycles, motocross
Shut
when
the
I was
fuck
a kid.
up,
So
dude.
at a
That's
time,
great.
at a time where I think, you know, she always probably missed riding bikes, but my dad was like, "Oh, we're getting rid of your bikes because you don't need to get hurt," and he didn't need to get hurt. So it was just like me. And I think also too, my sisters, you know, being close to my sisters is important because I think they were, you know, a bit jealous of me and my dad's relationship. And then now my dad is a lot closer to my sisters. And plus, like, I don't know, it's just important. I think family's super cool and important. So, like, when I get a chance to talk to Megan or Michelle and just see and be a part of their life and my nephew and nieces, it just makes me happy knowing that they're in a good place. All the kids in the family are in a good place. And it's just... I don't know. It's different than when I grew up, and it's like, fuck my sisters. Oh, my parents are assholes. But, you know, I got my own kids now, and I hope to see them continue to grow and find someone that they love and have kids with. And it's just part of life. Whether my kids want kids or not, that's cool. But I just want to see everyone doing good and doing better each and every day for themselves, because that's how I feel. I feel like every day I wake up, I have a smile on my face. I'm at a point where I don't need to complain about anything because I'm like, it doesn't do any good. I can like have that mind frame of like, oh, life sucks, but nobody gives a shit.
It's so true. It's so true.
It's only up to you to have the best attitude you can. And like for me, I wake up every day just to strive to keep that smile on my face. And usually it's like, man, I want to go talk to my parents. I want to go have coffee with my dad, make sure he's cool, everything's good, go to the gym, do some sweating, feel good, and then, go and tattoo. Like, you know, I actually like tattooing now to where I can like get to my office early, set up early, and kind of work on my bikes or work on some artwork prior to my client getting there. Yeah. And I have a routine too when my clients get there. If they bring somebody with them, which usually a lot, I'd say 50-50. Yeah. They'll either come by themselves or they'll bring 1 or 2 people. Well, if they bring somebody, I try not to be a dick about it, but I do tell them like, hey, can you give us some time? Like usually I don't let people come into my office because it's about the same size as your office. And so I kind of have to turn them out and say like, hey, you're going to have to leave. No way. And then they kind of trip out for a bit till we're like, okay. And then they'll leave, they'll go do whatever, and then I'll talk to my client about what their art is that they want to put on. And then after I'm over that point of getting the artwork dialed in and I know I'm going to put the stencil on or I'm done drawing my freehand work and I'm ready to tattoo, then it's just like, okay, I'm good. The hard work is over. Yeah. If you want to bring your friend back, have them bring you food and they could chill out, cool. But I'm in my own world now. I'm done doing the hard work, and the tattoo process just comes out easy. Yeah, you know, and they could talk to me, and I don't have to wear headphones to zone anyone out because the tattoo part is actually the easier part. Yeah, it's the design work and what my client can get out of me to do what they're picturing. Yeah, because sometimes clients will be like, hey, I want you to do whatever you want. Well, I'm not into that. I don't do.
It's on you for the rest of your life, bro.
I'm like, I don't want a tattoo today. Yeah. You know? Yeah. I want you to motivate me to tattoo something that you want.
Yes. I love that.
And then it makes it easier.
I love that.
I don't know how tattoo artists, anyone just can do anything they want on somebody without that person like giving them some initiative of like, I like this. Yeah. But there is some people that show up and they're like, do whatever you want.
Yeah, that's so
and then there's
fucking
artists that are
weird.
like, okay.
All right.
You
Yeah.
know?
No, that's weird, man. That's weird. I like to be very descriptive and say what I want, and it makes sense. Like, yeah, it's like not like you're kicking them out, the person out forever. It's just like this part of it is just so fucking important that it has to be dialed in because it's on this person for the rest of their fucking life.
Sure.
And unfortunately, a lot of people have shitty tattoos that they don't like, and it's just the name of the game. So when you go to someone that is as skilled as yourself, that part makes sense, right? And so, because at first when you were explaining it, I was like, that kind of sounds like a dick move. Yeah. But then when you got to the end of it, I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense.
It's just the process.
It is.
And for me, the process works, so I have to believe in that process.
Yes.
And sometimes I'm sure I come across like a complete dick to those people I'm going to tattoo and their friends that came to hang out with them. But that's not what's important.
Yeah.
Me being a dick isn't the bad or good part. It's about business.
Of course.
And the tattooing, if they're going to give me money at the end of me doing the best tattoo, then they need to learn that process is, okay, it's you and me. Yeah. Your friends have to leave. Yeah. And we're going to get through this together.
Yes.
And if it means you want your friends here after the initiative of getting the artwork set up, that's cool. Yeah. And they can talk and we can bullshit while I'm tattooing. But
this is so fucking important.
This is how it goes.
Yes, absolutely. No, 100%. But I think you would rather just have it be just you and the person.
For sure.
Career, right?
Yeah. I mean, the easiest type of client is the person who shows up, tells me exactly what they want. I get the initial artwork put on them, and then they just are quiet the whole time.
Yeah.
That's actually weird to me that there is a handful of people every once in a while that are those type of clients that don't want to talk. Yeah. The people who want to talk to me while I'm tattooing it, I kind of expect it. Because a lot of my clients are fans of Mike Metzker from Motocross and what they've seen on TV, and then they just want my artwork, and they're not only fans of my writing, but a fan of my art, and so they want to talk to me the whole time. And
of course,
it's cool. I've had that time in my life where it was so hard to tattoo fans.
Yeah.
Because they wanted to be there to talk about motocross or life of where I've been. But now it's a lot easier, probably because I'm not stoned.
Yes. But, I totally understand, because when I was cutting hair, man, I think I more so wanted to talk to the person than cut the hair. Like, if that makes sense, right?
To be honest, don't get me wrong, Brock, I would never shortchange you because you are freaking master with your hair.
Not so much, but continue.
So that's why I'd only let you touch my hair.
Yeah, but 80% of the 70% of the time was good. Then 30% of the time I fucked up.
Hair when Brock was mine, only one person, that was a medical emergency, and that's the only.
Yeah, but Hope is so fucking good.
Hope is awesome.
Shout out to Hope.
Shout out to Hope.
Yep.
Shout out to Hope. But yeah, now that you did that, you literally I lost my train of where I was going with that.
Sorry, what were you gonna say?
I don't know.
Well, you were going to say something about him.
Oh, yeah, about me.
Yes. I honestly didn't only come for the haircut.
Yeah.
It was the conversations that you and I had, and the fact that
I get that for sure.
Someone can have a conversation for 3 hours.
I'm on the same page, and I can do that too.
Dry moment or that awkward silence. There was the only awkward silence was towards the very end, where it's, I'm gonna shut the fuck up because you're checking your work.
Yeah.
And I don't want to bother you while you're checking your work.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then after that, okay, we're good. Yeah. Okay. Hey, now, all right.
Well, I guess that's why you have a podcast. You know what I'm saying? Because you're good at conversation. And
thank you.
Sometimes I feel like I'm a psychiatrist to people.
Yeah. It's exactly.
I didn't sign up to be a psychiatrist, but I am a good person. I have a lot of good stories to share. So that's why, to me, being a tattoo artist that doesn't wear headphones and zone that person out,
I get that.
I do get paid hourly.
Yeah.
And my clients realize and respect that. So,
yeah, but if they were smart, they would just say do your fucking work because it'd be faster and cost less.
yeah, true, it would. But it seems like all
No,
my
but they come
clients
for
are
you.
wonderful people.
Yeah, they come for you, and that's awesome that you say that, man. They come for you. They come for the experience, and that's like even what you said. Not even like about me, just like hairdressers and tattoo artists, and just in general. It's yes, their work, but it's the experience that they create for the people, and definitely someone like yourself. You know, everything you did before, you know, tattooing, and then now tattooing. I could see why so many people would just come, dude. Your tattoos are fucking awesome, but at the same time, they are coming because of not all of them. I'm just saying, because what you said earlier is like they came because they grew up watching you, right? And now they see this bomb-ass tattoo artist. They want to come and experience both of that put together, right?
Yeah, and it's a good package. And
It
some of the stories that they hear because of the conversation and where it leads to,
Yes.
it blows their minds away.
Yeah,
and then
of course.
And then it reminds me of like, wow, that happened to me.
Dude.
And that is just insane. I've been all around the world because of
Dude.
riding bikes, and I hope to continue to be able to travel and get back on the road again one day.
Yeah.
You know, definitely getting the hotel for me last night down the road in Newhall.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful hotel, and it really made me miss like that whole life of traveling and living out of a backpack in the hotels around the world.
Dude, it's so funny that you say that because for my line of business, especially when I was on the creative side, I'd travel all over, dude. I mean, this guy knows I'd be on an airplane fucking 60, 70 days out of the year, right? Traveling to this place, that place. And I just got so fucking burnt out, right? You know, going to this salon, this event, this hair show, whatever. And I just got so burnt out that I just wasn't looking forward to the next one. Then the pandemic hits, right? And like all the big events get shut down. Everything gets shut down, right? And I'm like, fuck, man, I can't wait for the next one, you know?
Sure.
It made me appreciate it so much more. So when you sent that text earlier, I was like, ah, man, I totally understand. I can relate to that feeling. But yeah, man, I do think right now, kind of just talking about the pandemic, and we'll wrap this up, it's like, dude, being a dad and having kids and you know, not having them go to school and experience that. And like, dude, my younger brother, right? It's actually my wife's younger brother, but we've been together for so long that we, you know, her brothers and sisters are my brothers and sisters. Sure. Tyler was just such an amazing dude, and he was just a badass baseball player, varsity pitcher for Valencia High School. Was about to graduate, right? And he just, dude, high school, especially if you enjoyed high school and had a good time, right, is such an iconic moment in your life, right? And all of it taken away at the last minute, man. At the last fucking minute. And I just, you know, I couldn't even imagine like what he's going through. Not even now, but when he gets older and looks back, right? And it's like, you know, I never graduated high school, but high school for me was fucking awesome, man. My pops was still alive. I was partying. I was, you know, doing what I wanted to do, skateboarding, fucking punk rock. Met my wife, who was my girlfriend and best friend back then. Just like so many amazing fucking things. And I guess it was taken away from me when my dad passed away. But still, I look at that time as being so amazing. On the flip side, my younger bro, it was taken away from him, and not because of some, you know, his dad dying, but because of COVID-19 and, you know, everything that has happened. It's just so fucking weird. And it sucks, man. And my heart goes out to, you know, your kids and all the kids out there that are going through it, you know?
Yeah, it's everybody.
Everyone. Absolutely. Everyone. It's not just, you know, America, you know, although it's pretty crazy out here. But I don't know what the fucking answer is. I'm not, you know, a politician. I just... we don't have to go down that path. I could share my ideas, but that's another chapter, maybe off the conversation. All right. That being said, man, literally as we wrap this up, bro, is there anything that you want to say? Because I'll let you get the last word, but then I'll actually say the last word.
Oh, man. Well, I just think that the best piece of advice that I could give people is to do your best each and every day. Wake up, and if you're going through hard times, figure out why those times are happening to you. Because I feel like anybody can change their path at any time. It starts with being healthy. It starts with waking up early and just kind of pushing yourself, you know. I felt like can say I've done enough drugs for me and everyone that I know. But did that make me a drug addict? Did it make me a bad person? No, you just move on.
Yeah.
You know, and you leave the past in the past and you make your future and tomorrow better.
Yeah.
You know, as long as you're alive, you can make the right decisions. And that's it. That's what it's all about, making good decisions every day and starting by getting out of bed and believing in the process where you want to be.
Yeah.
Because if you can believe that you can be that better person at the end of the day or at the end of the week or however long you're working on that path to get where you want, it's up to you. It's not up to anyone else. No one else is fucking up your life.
Yep.
It's you, and only you can make your life where you want it to be. You can make it horrible. You can make this place a living hell, or you can wake up and make it heaven every day and smile, you know, and be good to the people around you. And if people are being dicks, then just walk away.
Yeah.
You know, it's that easy. You don't have to fight with anyone.
Yeah.
You know, I've been there where, you know, you're hanging out with people who are being negative, and those people are going to wear off on you, and you're going to be negative about it. But you don't have to be around those people. You can be happy every day. Whether you need people in your life or not, find the right people. If you don't need people in your life and it's just you, it's probably a lot easier than having to have those people around you and needing a piece of you. Sorry. Or, you know, life is what you make it. And each and every day it starts with getting up early. I heard, you know, a motivational speech deal where it's like a military guy, and he's like reminding you, like, it starts by getting out of bed and just simply cleaning up your shit, making sure you fold your bed. And if you can get up and start your day by saying, dude, I just made this a better place, by the end of the day, it's going to be a lot better place for people. And I kind of live by that each and every day, especially after just, you know, going through the most important things in my life, like having my 2 older kids move out and move on to do them. Yeah. And I feel like I put 110% effort into my children and just making sure that I believed that when they were old enough to say, Dad, I'm out of here, that I could be like, okay, they're smart enough to be doing the right thing. And I'm here. If they need help, I'm here.
I love that.
You know?
Absolutely. So, oh, man. Dude.
So what are you going to end it with?
Same shit I've been saying every single time. Nah, bro, that's it, dude. Everything that you just said makes so much sense, right? It's just like, leave this place a better place, right? Make your fucking bed. It's the small little steps that we do in life that can change the outcome, you know, at the end of the day or end of the week, like you said. And then, you know, the seed that we pass along, your kids, they grow up, you take care of them, you do all this stuff, and then eventually they grow up and they move out. But it's what you instill in them, just like everything that your father instilled in you and everything you are instilling in your kids, right? Sure. They're going to have a lot better chance of succeeding in life compared to, you know, the kid with a fucked up dad or no dad, right?
And that matters too, where you come from as far as your parents. I know that I wanted kids at a young age. Yeah. I think at 16 I started dating and banging, and I always in the back of my head was like, okay, if I was to get this girl pregnant, is this girl someone I can handle and be happy with having kids? And I think for me, my motivation wasn't about falling in love. It was about finding a girl that would make me beautiful kids.
I love that. No,
that's right or wrong.
No.
I don't care.
No,
I have
honest.
3 beautiful kids. I am honest. And I think people appreciate honesty in people than people that are just going to sit there and bullshit you for the rest of their life. And I don't want people that bullshit me or other people around me.
No.
It's not cool.
Not at all.
You can make...
sugar-coated.
Yeah, don't sugarcoat anyone's fucking shit, especially your own. You know, if you need to hand somebody a pile of shit, make sure it's raw with nuts and everything.
That's so true. Boom, bitch. All right. Hey, man, seriously, I appreciate you from the bottom of my goddamn heart for coming on the show, sharing your story. I mean, man, it's been fucking cool. And I'm sure this won't be the last time. And I can't wait for everything that your future has. Fuck my future too. Like, just keep on doing what you're doing. Push ahead. Never fucking stop. And, you know, at the end of the day, right? Just fucking do it. Amen. Have a wonderful day. Hey. And everyone listening, we thank you so very much. Have a good night, people. Thank you so much for listening to Back to Your Story. Peace out. Motherfucker. Boom. Bitch, and it's over. Wowzers. I want to thank you guys so much for watching the podcast. If you enjoyed listening to Mike's story and you enjoyed this podcast channel, please subscribe. Hit my head right there. You see that head? Hit that bad boy. And if you want to watch another amazing podcast from the legendary Nicole Aniston, right there, hit that. Have a good night, people. Peace.